JBNN will keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones, and in the news, 22-gun haul in Montego Bay. The police have revealed details about the seizure of a large shipment of firearms at the Seaboard Warehouse in Montego Bay, St. James on Friday. According to the police's Corporate Communications Unit, CCU, the shipment included 22 Glock pistols, one Cobra ENT .380 pistol loaded with a magazine containing 5.380 cartridges, one Glock magazine containing 13 9mm cartridges, and one Glock 19 barrel. Reports are that at about 3:30 p.m., a customs enforcement team observed anomalies with the package and handed it over to a police team. Closer inspections revealed that the package contained the cache of firearms. Papa shot dead in St. Anne home invasion. A man was shot dead at his home in Windsor, St. Anne's Bay, St. Anne on Thursday evening. The deceased has been identified as 22-year-old Shaquem Mackenzie, otherwise called Papa. Reports are that about 6 p.m., Mackenzie was in the bathroom when a man armed with a handgun entered the house. The man reportedly went to the bathroom, where he found Mackenzie using the toilet, and shot and killed him before fleeing the premises. It is understood that residents called the police, and Mackenzie's body was found lying in the bathroom by lawmen. Auditor found dead in suspected suicide. An auditor employed to the Auditor General's office died in a suspected suicide at his home in Old Harbour, St. Catherine on Thursday. Dead is 50-year-old Victor Fisher of Marley Acres in the parish. Reports are that about 7 p.m., Artley Fisher, brother of the victim, went to Victor's house after several phone calls made to his phone on Wednesday were unsuccessful. It is reported that about 9 p.m., with the assistance of a neighbor, the mesh of the front bedroom window of Victor's house was removed, and when the window was opened, he was found lying on his back with what appeared to be a gunshot wound to the side of his head. The police were called, and one black Sig Sauer Exeter containing one magazine and 16 rounds of ammunition were found beside him on his bed. A note was reportedly found beside his body. It was also reported that the deceased was suffering from a state of depression for quite some time. The body was transported to the Spanish Town Hospital. The matter is under investigation. Kingston man charged with murder after stabbing incident. A 20-year-old man has been charged with murder in relation to an incident on Greenwich Street, Denham Town, Kingston 14 on Sunday, January 22. Daniel Dothlin, otherwise called Kevon, of Elgin Street, Denham Town, Kingston 14, was charged with the murder of 31-year-old Richard Robinson, otherwise called Slapway or Travis, of Victoria Street, Denham Town. Reports from the Denham Town Police are that about 12:45 p.m., Dothlin and Robinson had an argument resulting in a fight, during which Robinson used a stone to hit Dothlin. In retaliation, Dothlin allegedly used the scissors to stab Robinson. The police were alerted, and both men were assisted to the hospital, where Robinson was pronounced dead and Dothlin was admitted for treatment. An investigation was launched, and Dothlin was later arrested. He was charged after a question and answer session in the presence of his attorney. His court date has not been finalized. Nurse charged with attempted murder. A 35-year-old registered nurse has been charged with attempted murder arising from an incident involving a woman on Beeston Street in downtown Kingston on January 20. The accused man is Sade Rampassard, otherwise called Cooley, from Walkway 34 in Brayton Phase 2, Portmore, St. Catherine. He was charged by the Denham Town Police on Friday. The police say about 10:30 p.m. on January 20, Rampassard, who had a knife, held a woman by her hair and then used the weapon to stab her several times. The woman was assisted to the hospital where she was treated. The incident was reported to the police and an investigation launched. Rampassard was charged after a question and answer session in the presence of his attorney. He is scheduled to appear before the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court next week. Finance Ministry received FSC report on SSL in April 2020. Never came to his attention, says Clark. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark has disclosed that his office received a report from the Financial Services Commission FSC and the Frauded Stocks and Securities Limited SSL in April 2020, but he said it was never brought to his attention. Dr. Clark, writing in Saturday's Gleaner newspaper, revealed that hours after his policy address on Monday, an official in the Financial Services Commission's management told him that the Commission sent a copy of a report to his office. Under the FSC's law, the agency is required to examine the affairs of entities that it regulates at least once per year, and after that submit a report to the minister within 90 days. Dr. Clark said the SSL report, dated June 25, 2019, was found in a search of his office on Tuesday. It was sent by the FSC to the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service on April 3, 2020, and stamped received by his office on April 15, 2020. That report was generated following an on-site visit of SSL in June 2019. According to the Finance Minister, the report did not contain a history of the FSC's regulatory actions against SSL, although it included breaches worthy of the recommendation that the FSC board meet with the board of SSL to address liquidity issues at SSL. The report also included a recommendation that SSL be issued immediately with regulatory directions in order to have the issues resolved in a timely manner. At least 40 investors have been fleeced of what could be billions of Jamaican dollars in an alleged fraud scheme at the financial institution. Dr. Clark said recommendations from the Financial Services Commission's 2019 report on Stocks and Securities Limited were implemented by the agency's board. He noted that the recommendations and approved directives were issued to SSL on October 25, 2019, almost 6 months prior to his office receiving a copy of the report. He said the FSC board implemented directives that were more extensive than those recommended in the report in both scope and detail. According to him, a later FSC status update confirmed that SSL was compliant or largely compliant with 5 of the 6 FSC board mandated directives by April 25, 2020, days after his office received the report. Dr. Clark insists that the FSC has brought matters of concern or that requires input to his attention many times in the past. SSL was never among them, he noted. Defendant accuses cops of delaying X-ray ordered by doctor. One of the 27 defendants in the One Don Gang trial on Friday accused the police of refusing to take him for an X-ray after allegedly injuring his arm. The defendant, Ted Prince, whose arm was in a sling, complained to Chief Justice Brian Sykes after the trial had adjourned for the day. He claimed he suffered the injury last week Thursday. "Your Honor, the doctor write an X-ray paper for I go do a X-ray, and I'll know me can't go it for go do the X-ray for my hand," he told the judge. "The officers them say me a come a court, so them can't bring me. And last week Thursday, me never dey go no court, and them never bring me same way. I mean, I know why me can't go to hospital and them brought me on," Prince reported. After listening to the complaint, the judge summoned the court sergeant, who said that she'll make the appropriate checks and arrangements for Prince to be taken for the X-ray. The court, in the meantime, is to be updated on Monday as to whether it was done. Meanwhile, the judge, early in his summation, said that based on the evidence presented by the court about the gang's alleged involvement in a double murder and arson in New Nursery, Twickenham Park, St. Catherine in 2017, the legal standard of a criminal organization was met even before the alleged serious offenses were committed. At the same time, the judge did not make any pronouncement on whether he found the evidence credible. 2 ex-members of the gang had testified that Andre Blackman Brown and his crew carried out the killings and arson when they went in search of a man called Bubba Sparks, who was reportedly a top shooter for Tesha Miller, the reputed leader of a faction of the Klansman gang. A couple, Jermaine Bryan, 25, and Cedella Welder, 27, were allegedly shot dead by Bryan and his bodyguard, defendant Tyreek James, and their boardhouse firebombed. Both witnesses had given details about the planning that took place at a yard, with Bryan and several alleged gang members assigned roles before they allegedly went to the community. Butter bombs and guns were also allegedly present during the meeting. So even before they had left Miss X's yard, the legal standard has been met in terms of a criminal organization, the judge said. The judge noted that the statute's definition of a gang is 3 or more persons affiliated with a group, network, or alliance, and with a common purpose to commit 1 or more offenses. He previously stated that the crime does not have to be executed in order for a judge to find that a criminal organization exists. The judge, in his summation, also looked at evidence given by the Crown about the alleged siege of an AK-47 anti-magazine with 10 7.62mm rounds at the furniture shop of one of the defendants, Rel Taylor. However, he said his decision as to whose version is to be believed will be based on who is more credible. Additionally, he said the defendant's good character principle, which was raised by Taylor, the cousin of alleged gang leader Bryan, will also be considered. The principle, in essence, is that a person of a good character is more likely to be truthful than one of bad character, and is also less likely to commit the crime for which he or she is charged. The judge, in his observation, said while there are some differences in the accounts, the most significant difference is the evidence relating to whether Taylor was present during the search. A senior police witness had testified that the gun and ammunition were found under a stack of boards, and that Taylor, who was present during the search, had denied knowing about the weapon and ammunition. However, Taylor in his unsworn evidence said he was not present during the search and that the shop is in an unfinished building that is occupied by 2 other persons and that it has a back door which is always open. Brian and 26 alleged gang members are being tried on an indictment with multiple counts of offences under the Criminal Justice, Suppression of Criminal Organizations Act and the Firearms Act. Justice Sykes will continue summation on Monday. I'm saving you from yourself. A complainant was warned for contempt of court after repeatedly making potentially slanderous remarks about an attorney in defiance of the judge's orders. Fisherman Robert Tate brought his colleague Carlton Faulkner to court for hitting him with a board during an altercation. Explaining his actions, Faulkner said he hit Tate with the board because the complainant allegedly stole $22,000 from him. According to the accused man, he was standing with Tate on the road in their community when the money fell out of his pocket. After he realized the money was missing, he asked Tate to return the cash, he said. Tate, however, denied taking the money and an argument ensued, resulting in Faulkner assaulting him. "Me slap him for true," Faulkner confessed. After Faulkner pleaded guilty to the offense of assault occasioning actual bodily harm, Senior Parish Judge Owen Cole Montague turned to Tate and asked if he would like to be compensated for his injury. Ignoring the judge's question, Tate went on a rant about his long-standing feud with Faulkner, alleging that he was beaten by Faulkner's friends, including an attorney at law who he claimed was the leader of a gang. Despite the judge ordering Tate to stop a number of times before he potentially slandered the attorney, Tate insisted on naming the attorney, saying he was able to stand on that. "Sir, you don't want to slander anybody and anybody go sue you," the judge interjected. "I am here about the assault." Even after Cole Montague's warning, Tate continued to make explosive allegations about the attorney and being ganged by Faulkner's friends. Trying to get his attention back to the matter at hand, the judge asked Tate repeatedly if he would like to be compensated, and after Tate finally answered yes, he resumed talking about the attorney. This lasted for some time as the judge tried to ascertain how much money he would want for his injured hand. "It is a dangerous thing to call up somebody's name in the way that you have done it," she said, before Tate attempted to interrupt her again. "Hey, I'm speaking," the judge told Tate. "Have you ever heard about slander? Have you ever heard about people suing people for saying things they can't prove? You say you have your proof? I'm not interested in that. I'm stopping you and I'll not allow it." "I'm stopping you and I will not allow it," Cole Montague added. "Sir, you'd have to go to a police to make a report. I him one stop in front of me for assault, so me can't think about nobody else. Me can't try somebody who's not before me," the judge said. "Sir, stop the noise, and don't let me find you in contempt of court. I'm saving you from yourself," Cole Montague warned. A fingerprint order was made for Faulkner, and he was ordered to return to court on February 21 for sentencing. At JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.